In general, weather modification is when weather or the atmosphere is modified by people on any scale. Since 1946 or earlier, there have been serious scientific weather modification programs. There are now over 150 weather modification programs. Back in 1946, Vincent J. Schaefer and Irving Langmuir at General Electric Research Labs in Schenectady, New York, figured out how to use dry ice pellets or frozen carbon dioxide and insert those into clouds composed of water droplets in a box. They became ice crystals that grew and eventually got big enough and fell out of the clouds. That's how they discovered how to do weather modification originally. Now that's a type of cloud seeding, which is a very popular form of weather modification. Things like silver iodide and lead iodide can be used. Lead iodide can be burned to create smoke of tiny particles. And lots of weather modification programs in the world, especially in the USA, tend to focus on precipitation like rain, snow, and hail. Now, there's a couple main types of cloud seeding supposedly: hygroscopic and glaciogenic. Hygroscopic speeds up droplets to increase precipitation in liquid clouds, and glaciogenic involves dispersing ice nuclei such as silver iodide or dry ice into clouds to cause heterogeneous ice nucleation. But cloud seeding is actually harmful. The silver iodide can cause lung irritation, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Also, increased precipitation can cause a lot of other issues like flooding and messing with the agriculture and droughts in nearby areas and so forth.
Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And, as it turns out, the cleanest. Now, the most amazing thing is that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you. It's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh. NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
For many years, the Department of Defense and Department of Energy have been spraying the skies in the United States with various toxic chemicals and biological agents, various molds, fungi, and weaponized viruses that are toxic. Barium and aluminum are two of the very harmful gases And barium at low doses is just a muscle stimulant, but at high doses is very detrimental to the nervous system and heart, and toxic to all mammals. Aluminum is known to diminish kidney function and destroy brain cells also. These are some very toxic chemicals being sprayed in our skies. As I mentioned, there are over 150 weather modification programs, and some major ones include RHS Consulting, NASA, SOAR, North American Weather Consultants, HARP, Weather Modification Incorporated, Ice Crystal Engineering, Western Weather Consultants, and many, many more.
And oftentimes they are flying right into that cloud cover that does have actual precip in it or moisture carried in it, and they go ahead and they spray that military chaff, and that often is buried within those actual rain or hail or snow soundings. So it can be very difficult to tell what you're looking at. So once again, what is military chaff? Well, it's usually aluminum-coated glass fibers. I'll step out of the shot so you can read this. Aluminum-coated glass fibers, and they can range anywhere in length from about 0.5 to 0.75 centimeters, and it's released in packets anywhere from a half of thread to 100 million fibers. So as you heard me mention, 500 tons of this stuff is released into the atmosphere every year. So clearly, concerns have been raised about the toxicity of this stuff to humans and to the environment. So the next time you take a look at the radar and you see a flick of green or yellow or red, you can ask yourself, what are you looking at? Is it military chaff, bugs, birds, bats, or rain?
Cold air, minus 30. It takes a high altitude, around 30,000 feet plus. There's carbon dioxide and water vapor in that exhaust. That turns to ice crystals, and that's what you see, the white stream behind it. Those white crystals of ice warm up, dissolve, and the smoke goes away. And it never lasts more than a minute. What we're seeing now, and I first could not believe it, and I started looking at the skies, and these are not normal. They're not natural. There's something going on. I don't know who it is or why they're doing it. All I can testify is it's not natural and it's not normal. It's got to be some outside influence doing that. Thank you.
I'm here to give you testimony that chemtrails, they're not contrails, are indeed real. They're spraying almost every day. I watch the clouds and watch the spraying program going on. I want to tell you that we're in very great danger from the pollution that's coming down over us. And we've been led astray by the military-industrial complex, and they're responsible for the cloud creation and weather manipulation programs. They're dark operations. That's why they're not out in the media.
I look around and I see people are starting to look up and see that. Many times I've spoken about chemtrails, and I get this blank look on my face. What are you talking about? I'm saying, look up. As a pilot, but before I fly, I look up. And so, boy, they're really out there working.
When you look up at the sun and you see a white haze, that is aluminum floating in the air right now.
Thanks, hope you enjoyed.